Hi, it's Justina here from Flight of the Phoenix Holistic Therapy. Today I am called to record video on my father. Um, and I guess the reason for it is to highlight the impact of our primary relationships and caregivers on our life, how we treat ourselves, how we lead our life, how we make decisions and choices. And I feel, yeah, there was several signs for me to record this. One was there was a Father Day on Sunday, I think in England and US. I'm not sure if it's in Australia. I don't think so. I'm not sure either in Poland. But anyway, there was a Father's Day that I'm aware of, and it made me think of my father. Also, my father was a Sagittarius, and there was a full moon in Sagittarius on 12th, I believe, or 11th of June. And also, me and my husband were watching a series. I think it's 1883. It's a spin-off of Yellowstone. Amazing script, by the way. I cried on every episode and had profound insights as well. But there was this, without any spoilers, there is a relationship between father and daughter, which kind of the end of it I associate with my father and my sister relationship and the consequences of it. But anyway, all positive. I mean, we're gonna be crying, I think, but we will go from this spot. My father, I remember him as a child. He was a dreamer. He was an artist. He was Sagittarius himself, so he was a very passionate man with multiple passions. He was pursuing. He liked to draw. He liked to paint. He liked to. Um, Play music. He used to, I recall he told me he used to be in a band when he was younger. And not all was fun because sometimes he was playing on the weddings, but he enjoyed playing guitar and singing. Um, and I think he was very musical. I think entire family was quite musical. Um, he was also a builder, or rather, like he was on construction sites telling people how to build things. He was like that middleman between the architect and the builders. Um, Building site manager, I guess, or something like that. He built few businesses for other people's within that industry. Um, Needless to say, he was very hardworking, committed, devoted, and really kind, pure human. He was also he liked fixing things. He could. I think I never saw him do that, but I think he built like a motorbike from the scratch, from like all the parts and whatnot. And he was always fiddling with his car and things like that. So yeah, he was very interesting, intriguing man. And I call everyone to learn about their parents, who they were, because that may help you understand who they were for you. It's important to know our parents' history, not to let them off the hook, but to understand what they've been through and what drove them, um, to understand the impact on them, and then obviously how they impacted us. I think it's important to know those things. So anyway, I don't know much more about my father. Like what I know, he was very in love with my mother. He found her very beautiful, fun, and she was 6 years younger than him. And he When he saw her, it was like a love at first sight, or whatnot. At least I think that's what he was saying. So he was very committed to her. And yes, and unfortunately, I think that love was his downfall, but we're gonna get to that. I have little notes as always. What am I supposed to say to not waver of the topic or lose my way? Um, so I can safely say that what made him feel free was music, was art, expressing himself. Um, However, that expression was not um, appreciated by my mother, I guess. And it's gonna be a little bit witch hunt here. She's not a villain in the story. She is a villain in the story, but she had her reasons, and this is not to blame my mother for anything, because I understand her side of the story as well. But in this story, we're talking about my father. So we need to understand that unfortunately, my mother clipped his wings, shattered his spirit. He worked really hard to provide for the family, and it was obviously on his shoulders, as it always is on men's, which I am sorry that that is the case. Um, of course, my mother worked as well, but men always earned more at the time. I think the pattern still continues, but never as mind. At the time, he was earning more, so obviously he was providing for family. He was giving my mother money. He was working really hard. He worked 6 days a week, and really all the time. And he had many jobs, but the one I remember specifically is the one when he had to travel outside of our town to different village. And and because he was working on building sites, obviously that would be outside of the cities, towns. So he was driving a lot. So we would see him only like Wednesdays and Saturday, Sunday, after he finished on Saturday. And what he was welcome to was usually arguments with my mother, three females in the house. I was already rebel by then. I was already arguing heavily with my mother because I felt she was unjust to him. To my dad, I felt compelled to protect him. But that was when I was a teenager. When I was a young child, I was just watching, witnessing all the arguments and pain. And there was this one situation that shaped me a little bit. I mean, all of it shaped me. But one story I want to tell you is when my mother was yelling at my father again, vile things, abusive things, while he was driving us back home from our grandparents' place to back to home. And he lost it. He was so desperate. I can't possibly, I mean, I know what he felt. I think. Um, I think he wanted to die. He felt helpless, powerless in the situation, and and again, this is not to put anyone in trouble. He raved the engine and he went for the tree. He wanted to hit the tree head front with the car. And obviously he didn't. He stopped himself, because I guess it's just survival instinct kicked in him, like, what are you doing? Kind of thing. But I was small, sitting at the back of the car. Back in those days, there were no car seats for children. You would just sit at the back. And I ran away screaming on the street when he stopped that car because I never been more scared in my life. And to this day, I can't be on roller coasters or crazy rides because I don't want to be trapped where I have no control over situation. It's paralyzing. So I know my father didn't want to do that. And obviously that didn't stop argument. That made it even worse. Nobody won here. But it was just desperate situation. And I don't blame my father for it. But the memory is still there. And even this weekend, there was a funny situation in the car. I panicked basically. I don't drive the car. I have no clue about how to drive a car, but yet I am a backseat driver. So my husband drives. Anyway, there we were parking, on one of those shopping car parking places, and he was going and waiting for a spot to be free. And this woman started coming at us from her parking spot, but we were right in front of her. And he obviously didn't see it. I was seeing it because it was on my side. And I started yelling at him, like, drive, move, like, get out of the way. Like, my feet pressing against the fucking bottom of the car, thinking I have any control, but I didn't, obviously. And I didn't know that he couldn't move much because there was car behind us, and then he had to move from, you know, reversing to front driving or whatever. And anyway, he was taking his time with this movement, and I was in my mind, I was dying. I'm gonna be in an accident. This woman will drive into us, which was obviously ridiculous, because she was going from very static position to driving, inching forward. There was no possibility of accident. But it's just the situation was terrifying for me. I had full panic attack and anger fit, for which obviously I apologize because it's not my husband's fault. But this is how I react, and this is from the memory I had as a child. That's how it still impacts me, and I understand it. I'm very aware of it. I come to terms with it, and obviously I want to be better at controlling myself and my reactions, but being trapped is still hard to manage. So anyway, coming back to the story. So that was quite profound memory from my childhood, and then that shaped my fear of, I guess, maybe speed and being trapped and out of and not in control, on mercy of others. That's also how my anger started developing against my father, because I, at the time, thought my mother's crazy, as all, well, I didn't know what I was doing or thinking. I thought she was crazy and evil, and I wanted him to leave her, and I divorced her, and I wanted him to take us with him. That was my plan that unfortunately he didn't follow, because later on I found out during one of my energy healings that my father really loved my mother, that he just could not um, leave her, that the love was blinding him no matter what the abuse was, that he would do anything for her. And that was also something that was deeply rooted in his um, in the way he was brought up, because his mother was quite strong on Catholicism, very religious family. All Poland those days was very religious. I think they still are and still have religion has still impact on politics and things like that. But yes, it was according to God and the Catholic religion, you should not divorce or leave, obviously, your spouse, so he wouldn't. Um, his mother wouldn't let him either. She would say to him that you chose her, you married her, you deal with it now. Um, And I feel watching this, growing up, the helplessness of the situation, and again, I know I keep repeating helpless and powerless, but these are the themes of my life that I'm healing from. So you're gonna hear about it all the time. Um, and this is just to show how your environment will shape you and contribute to your future traumas as well, because they do shape you, and I will say in a minute how. Um, so yes, so that created anger. I was angry at my father. He didn't do anything. I didn't feel protected by him. I found him weak and vulnerable. I didn't understand why my father, as a man, cannot stand up to my mother. I took on upon myself as a teenager to protect him and everyone else from her, putting myself on the front line. But still, she wouldn't attack me first. She would attack others, my sister, my dad. Um. So anyway, um, next story is the one that really shaped how I started building relationship in my own adult life. So, um, when my sister died, my father completely broke. He collapsed. He started crying um, uncontrollably, and it was hard to watch. And I was watching it. I was just standing behind him and watching it. And the pain of loss of his own, like child, not only child, because I was a child too, but I didn't feel like a child. I felt like I have to carry it. Like I felt like his pain was more important. Like I had to do something, fix it, make it better, make it go away. It was really hard to watch. Like it is hard to watch me right now, probably for some. Anyway, don't you worry about me. I'm good. I cry on cue. Um, no, I don't really. I'm just so sensitive. But anyway, so watching him like that, uh, made me make a decision that I will protect everyone, that I will fix whatever is broken, that I will take on myself things. So, what I'm trying to show you with the story is that to this day, I still have need of taking responsibility for others, even if it's not mine, for their emotions, what they're thinking, what they're doing. And as a therapist in me, of course, I know where it's coming from, how to stop myself from doing it. But when I connect to the trauma, to the subconscious, this part is still in me. I'm not a mother. I don't have children because, and that's one of the reasons, there's many, because I mother everyone else outside of myself. when I see someone in distress, I run to help. I don't, I, when I hear of somebody's burden, I take it on myself. This is, this is cute, but it's my downfall. This is how I burn out. This is how I leave places like my last corporate job because it was too much for me to handle. It's not that I couldn't do the job. I could, but I couldn't deal with the consequences, how it impacts other people, the demand of the business. And knowing their personal stories, I just was taking it out myself, and it's just impossible to carry other people's shit when you have your own to deal with. Um, so with this, I want to show you how some decision that I've made when I was 18 impact still me in my life when I'm 41. Obviously, as I build awareness, as I heal myself, as I'm creating videos like this, I have my own therapist. I process it, I release it, I um kind of alchemize it into my strength and power. But the pain is still there, the memories are there, and I remember how this shaped me because based on this, what I saw in my childhood, I then went out and created my own relationships in life, and I found myself in abusive relationship because I wanted to save someone that couldn't be saved or didn't want to be saved. Um, I wanted to provide, I wanted to give everything I have to make things better. Um, and I think loads of women do, loads of men do, as presented in my father's story. In this case, it wasn't a woman that was a victim, it was a man. And I'm sure that happens more often that we know, that we are aware of. So I had a privilege to see both. And experience both. And it was hard lessons to swallow, and a lot to alchemize and change and see the skill set out of it and what I gained from those experiences, the lessons I've took. But it's also important to remember the impact, right, on our lives and how many of us um are unaware of the fact that the childhood and the environment we grew up in and our parents shape how we live unless we change it, unless we take responsibility to make things better, different. It's also unfair to judge previous generations, I feel, or future generations, because we all living in different times. You can't be angry at something that you don't understand, or you didn't have to live through. I feel it's ridiculous. So we all need to take responsibility for our own healing and our own story and choose different and make different decisions. Because yes, we make a lot of decisions when we are children, how we gonna be in this world. And I have decided when I was a child that I will protect, I will nurture, I will give, and be a masculine energy in it. I will protect um, and push. And this is still impacting me because, yeah, because like now I left my corporate job, now I'm doing my business. Um, And I still have that masculine energy that I have to create every day something, that I have to push to succeed, that if I sit on my ass and do nothing and wait to receive, I'm somehow lazy, procrastinating, which is not true, obviously. We all plant the seeds, and if we believe and trust in our own skill set, resourcefulness, knowledge, and who we are, and we stop caring about what other people think about us, that is gold. That is preparing yourself to receive, um, rather than chase all the time. And that's what I'm currently learning. I want to receive. I want to be seen for who I am, not the masks that I had to put on, um, to protect myself, to survive. Mm, so yeah, I think that was kind of the message, that your childhood is shaping you. Um, it's your responsibility to address what is still working, what doesn't, and needs to be changed. Um, to have better life. Than your parents maybe did. And I guess this is my kind of, this is what I choose to remember, instead of remembering the anger that I had for my father, not for protecting me, and for the traumas he gave me. I want to remember him for the passion that he had for the art and music, and that I can live the life, for him and for my sister and for my mother, because neither of them had things that people have these days. People go to restaurants these days with their kids, go to shows, go on holidays to different countries. I never had such things. My parents never had such things. My sister never had such a thing. I think none of them left country. So I choose to take all the good things that they had, alchemize it, and live it in my life, improve on it, live for them. Um, that's the legacy I want to build. Um, Not the life of blaming and bad memories, because it wasn't all bad. Like, we had some good memories. Like, I remember watching comedy shows at home with my father and my mother, and we were all laughing, and these were good days. Or when I used to watch movies with my dad, war movies or like action movies, and he would say that, oh, they destroying a awful amount of cars in those movies. Obviously, he was talking in Polish, not in English. And how he was angry that I don't want to watch news. I still don't want to watch news. I don't see the purpose. And I remember how the last hug I had with him, and his blue eyes, how he smiled at me before he died a few months later. Oh, thank God I had the ability to say goodbye to him, because I was in London when he died. And, I was angry at him because he didn't support me. He couldn't. He was just draining me of money, and emotionally, he was really, after my sister's death, he was really clingy, uh, overcompensating, I guess. Um, and I know that he wanted to build something for me, to have something from him, but it's just all turned to nothing. Uh, so there was just regret from his side, from my side. But at the end, we had a conversation like on the, what was it, 1st of January, 2012. That was his name's day, because in Poland we have name's days. And it was finally like nice conversation, like he wasn't asking me for anything. It was more like I was apologizing, that I'm sorry I have to say some harsh truths that I don't mean to, but it's just too much. But I do care and I want to support him and I wished him like all the good things in New Year. And then 3 days after he was gone, and I wasn't there. And it's hard because, you know, it's hard to not see your parents, and not have that connection. Uh, it shapes you. Like it's just another example of shaping who you become, who you are, how you live your life. Uh, and then I was angry at him again because he left us in a lot of debt. So we had to pay it off with my mother for like 10 years. Oh God. He wasn't good at managing money. My mother was great at it, but he was, yeah. It was just hopeless situation that he found himself in, and nothing could be done. Uh, and he, like, unlike my sister, he wasn't coming in my dreams. I had a dream when my sister died, and when it, which I said in different video. But with him, he wasn't coming, and if he was coming in my dream, it would be more like, like a memory of something. But last year, I had a really good dream. It was that hug, the last hug we had, and he was smiling at me, and he was so happy and proud of me. And it was such a release. Like, like the anger, my anger finally went away. And I understood many things because, I am healing still, as you can clearly see. Uh, and I think the healing never stops. You always uncover another layer of the lessons learned, and how it's impacting you. And yeah, I wanted to honor him, uh, his memory. I know now that he done the best that he could with what he had at the time. Could he done better? I'm sure, but I can't change the past and I can't fix it. And it's not my role to fix it either. I'm not responsible for that, for his life, for my mother's life, for my sister's life. It wasn't my burden to carry. Uh, it wasn't. But it is my responsibility and duty to heal it and not pass it on next generations, although I'm not planning to have next generations, but just in case. Uh, the healing is important. Uh, so we can be better people for others, and not replay the patterns that we acquired as children, not to project our past pain onto new people, which happens. It still occasionally impacts my relationship with my husband. And it's my responsibility to heal it. It's not his to deal with my trauma. Of course, he's a supportive man, and he is always on my side. He's always by my side. And he's learning how to cope with some of my panic attacks and anxieties. Uh, and I guess that's a sign of a real and supportive man. Uh, and the relationship that I do deserve. Uh, I do deserve someone to create space for me to heal, to learn about myself, to create things, um, and be of my highest uh, potential. Um, he doesn't do it for me. He walks with me, and that is very important. I think a lot of people assumes that we get saved or something. Nobody gonna save you. You have to do work yourself, and it's pretty ugly work sometimes. I know I keep repeating that. It's not pretty. I think we need to stop making it all just meditate and everything will be better. No, you need meditation to create awareness, to recognize who you are, to recognize your patterns. Yes, that's what we need it for. Journaling, worry times, gratitude, all that is important to manage yourself and your own emotional state. You are not responsible for other people, other people's life, but those things, especially the things from childhood, do impact your life. And we have to understand that, and integrate that, those lessons from those days, and stop focusing on anger. That's how anger gets released, when we understand our part in it and how the situation made us feel, how we felt, and it is our responsibility of what can I do in these situations, how can I voice how I feel, how this situation makes me feel, and see if there is any possibility of compromise, or retaining the relationship, or will it completely change? Will you lose it? But that's another story. So I will finish it here. I hope there was something useful for you. If it was, if you resonated, and if you don't mind my crying face, feel free to subscribe, to download, to share, to like, and hope to see you soon. Bye bye.